graduates, families, faculty, staff, and friends. Welcome to the 2021 commencement ceremony of the School of Communication at Loyola University, Chicago. I'm Hong Chen, Dean of the School of Communication. Welcome, everyone, to this very special occasion in the life of our SOC class of 2021. SOC class of 2021. If obtaining a university degree is an intellectual journey, you have successfully reached the destination. If the COVID-19 pandemic is a storm surging on your journey, you have conquered it. Defeating all challenges, you are all here today, a day we all have been waiting for. Sincere and hearty congratulations to you all, our proud SOC 2021 graduates. Starting today, the three powerful words, Loyola, University, Chicago, will be gleaming alongside you for the rest of your life. On your diploma, in your resume, and most important of all, I believe, in your heart. You have earned, yes, earned your degree from a remarkable national university in this great country. More than a regular university diploma, your degree is from Loyola, one of the world's leading Jesuit Catholic universities. Loyola's long and rich history will give you a strong sense of pride forever. Its Jesuit spirituality and cultivation in social justice will set you apart from your peers in the job market and give you extensive mileage in your careers and lives. I'm certain Chicago, one of the best global cities on earth, has offered you tremendous experience, confidence, and professional network that are difficult merely to buy with tuition. As SOC graduates, you have mastered the skills of not just how to get a message out, but how to think critically and communicate ethically. The coronavirus pandemic and the Black Lives Matter movement are unprecedented, unique, and historic learning experiences for all of us. The resilience, adaptability, and the care that you, our class of 2021, have demonstrated in response to COVID-19 have well prepared you for other obstacles and vicissitudes in your career and in your life down the road. In this sense, all the hardship and the frustration you have experienced, all the lessons you have learned over this past year are worth it. Similar to our SOC faculty, staff, and myself, the Black Lives Matter movement has surely awakened and deepened your belief in the social and racial justice. It must have ignited your passion for this worthy cause and urgent mission. I have no doubt that many of you will become advocates and champions in this national, even global movement for true and full racial justice. Class of 2021, you are a special cohort graduating at this exceptional time in history. You are the choosing class for such a time. You are also a class united with the entire nation and the whole world. Everyone is striving to graduate alongside during this memorable time. Again, my warmest congratulations to you and your families. Next, Kate Hong will represent the graduating class to speak. Kate is a magna cum laude graduate. She will receive a Bachelor of Arts degree in Advertising and Public Relations. After that, Mr. Paul Atland, Global Technology Strategist at Microsoft, will deliver the commencement speech for us. After the commencement speech, individual graduating students' name will be read and individual slide will be shown. Now, Kate, representative for class of 2021, will speak.
Thank you, Dean Chen. Good afternoon and congratulations. My name is Kate Hahn. I am honored to be speaking to you today after 3 years of piling on the 5:30 shuttle together and 1 year of not. I have constantly been enlightened by your minds, your energy, and your passion. So much clarity about my life's purpose has been developed here in ways I never thought possible. That is, until my very first visit to campus. My mom and I visited many colleges, but she took me here second and immediately regretted that decision because she thought it would ruin every other school for me. She was right. No other school I visited could compare. But I was captivated not only by the sheer beauty of campus, but by our community's clear commitment to what matters in each individual student, our souls, our desires, and our gifts. As we celebrate an accomplishment that each and every one of us should be immensely proud of, I want to tell you exactly why. Our graduation means more than the payoff of hard work and a path to a successful career. It deserves more than a congratulations, believe in yourself, go change the world. Because honestly, I think those words are true and well-intended, but are predictable enough to go in 1 ear and out the other. It is also extremely difficult to determine how and if we can change the world. Or, as St. Ignatius says, set the world on fire. I am here to tell you that setting the world on fire is simply a matter of knowing we are now equipped with the means to ignite our passions and our gifts, with a meaning that will allow us to leave a legacy of good, however that may look, in a world that will always need it. In other words, we are now equipped to pursue purpose. Purpose is something I think of very frequently in relation to my career. In fact, I made it a commitment to consider how each major decision I make in life factors into what I believe to be my purpose. The idea of purpose is one that should compel us to think of the good we can create through our actions and our decisions. In my own career, I seek to use my communication skills to advocate for others and make their lives more enjoyable. It is also a notion that ultimately defines so much of what we do on a daily basis. In fact, one of the many things that has defined the difficulty of this past year is the feeling of helplessness and a lack of purpose. When the world stood still, we found ourselves living in a loop. Society was in survival mode. As the world continued to stand still, we asked ourselves, how am I going to get on with my life when half of what gives my life meaning is impossible, not only in this moment, but for the foreseeable future? As time continued to pass, silence forged a path for our thoughts, crisis made way for enlightenment, and life resumed through a different lens. Ironically, the most stagnant year of most of our lives has been one of immense transformation. In this time in which I felt a lack of purpose, a lack of autonomy, and a lack of a solution, I developed a strong desire to create such solutions myself to the extent that I could. Among every restriction, I found no choice but to see the opportunity. I decided that if 99% of the events in your life are going wrong, cling to that 1% like it's your phone battery. You're getting off the train and you're almost done typing an essay-length text. Work on getting that 1% higher and higher each day. Because really, all you need is an outlet. You just might need to stop at a coffee shop to find it. Being forced to reevaluate our choices, ask ourselves what we could do better, and sacrifice things we didn't want to sacrifice, has provided perspective and clarity as to what we value, what we are passionate about, and the gifts we possess. Many of us graduates of the School of Communication could call ourselves right-brained. But I've realized my affinity for words, art, music, and exercising my creative passions to solve problems isn't just a scientific fact about me. It is a gift, and all of you have them too. People like us, graduates of a university that has prepared us in such a singular way to wield these gifts like powers we possess, must consider it a duty to themselves and others to do something purposeful with them. They are critical to your identity. If I've learned one thing in college, and especially this past year, it's that there are opportunities to pursue this purpose in the smallest of ways, and that being bold enough to do so is the best thing you can do for yourself and others. Your voice is backed up with a degree that you worked tirelessly to earn. A degree that, regardless of what your future holds, is defined by an unparalleled Jesuit education. We have the means to sustain purpose, to live well, and to be guided by an innate sense of what is good and right. We have been given the additional gift of being valued, having our whole person cared for, so we can make others feel the same way. We are not just college graduates, which would be honorable enough as it is. We are Loyola graduates. We are condemned to a life of seeing someone prepare to shoot a basket or hearing the phrase, "It's all a blur," and in all seriousness, we are prepared to live a life of purposeful ambition that allows us to create good from bad and always stand for social justice. We, with our degrees, are in a uniquely powerful position to see a problem and fight it efficiently. So, my fellow graduates, find your purpose and talk about it. Live your life in pursuit and protection of it. Don't be afraid to tell others what your life means. And if no one will listen, if no one understands, you tell yourself. You will be absolutely shocked at the places you take yourself if you view challenges and risks as opportunities to pursue meaning. It doesn't matter who you are or what you're pursuing. You may be a first-generation graduate. You may be the only one you know pursuing your career. You may be continuing a legacy. You may just be following your gut. If we live our lives with purpose, learn to value our gifts, and choose to pursue what we know to be right as we enter the next stage, we will make ourselves proud, fulfilled, and continue to be the ramblers we've been for the past 4 years. So, I will leave you all today with the wise words of Dolly Parton. Find out who you are and do it on purpose. And we've already started. Thank you. I would now like to introduce our keynote speaker, Paul Edlund. Paul is a global technology strategist at Microsoft and received his Bachelor of Science degree in economics from Loyola in 1991. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you, Kate. To the graduates of the School of Communication, coming across my name for today's commencement, you likely had the same thought as me. Was Bill Gates not available? It's truly humbling to be with you today. Delivering a commencement speech feels about as long as getting a diploma. Since September of 2019, when the invitation came into my inbox, I've often had the same thought, which is what gives me the right to talk to you about anything, much less ethics and technology? After all, I'm human with all my own mistakes. I've sent that reply all email with comments not meant for everybody. I've made insensitive comments that I regretted later, and I've done things in my life that I am not proud of. These were all life-defining moments for me, as your mistakes will probably be for you. Last summer, my son virtually graduated from high school. It felt like he'd been robbed of a life experience at the time. I'm sure many of you feel that way today. After having gone through the process with him, though, I can assure you that this graduation is an event to be remembered because of its uniqueness. This is not a common commencement, and I'm guessing you will likely remember this event far more than I remember my typical graduation. At Microsoft, one of the topics I focus on is our incredible research and development. Scientists prefer to speak in the language of science. My career has revolved around taking the complexity of their language and describing it in ways that a fourth grader can understand. I figure if they get it, perhaps I'll have some luck with the CEO. My job has a lot to do with getting it right rather than being right. I never pretend to be the smartest person in the room. I aim to be the person who improves every day. I learned this language of science and technology over decades, and just like learning a language, I started with words, then phrases, then sentences, and paragraphs. You know when you've got it when you understand all the jokes. I've gone through lots of phases of imposter syndrome. For example, when I presented at the United Nations in New York, my brain was thinking, will they realize that I feel like an idiot most of the time? I've learned to be humble about what I know and meet people where they are. It's easy to sound smart. Just use a bunch of acronyms and industry terms. But if I really want to be useful, I need to find out where people are and then provide them to a path to where I am. It takes a lot more work, but it also means that I've elevated them in the process. Losing people while I'm trying to sound smart helps nobody. The blessing of my job is that the work I do at Microsoft is based on facts. It's based on a solid strategy and transparency. Culturally, we're encouraged to have a perspective and to air it in a respectful way. Our leadership consistently reinforces us to value diversity, to be inclusive, and to conduct business in an ethical way. We're actually compensated at the end of the year, not just by what we achieve, but also by leveraging the work of others and giving them credit. Lastly, we're compensated by how much we help others. Back to the main question. What gives me the right to tell you about ethics and technology? Before I answer that, I realize that I'm like the hold music between now and hearing your name, receiving your diploma, but that doesn't mean that you're getting off easy. There's lots more work to be done. So let's start with the obvious. The world is hyper-connected, hyper-social, and super collaborative. The scale of the world's data is measured in something called a zettabyte. A zettabyte represents 1 billion terabytes. Visualizing a zettabyte is really tough. So imagine if we laid 1 billion 1 terabyte hard drives flat on the ground. It would be roughly the size of 1/5 of Manhattan. The current estimate of total global storage is somewhere between 150 to 100 zettabytes. That means that there's something like 20 to 30 Manhattans full of disks out there in the world. And in the coming years, we're going to double that storage every few years. So the question really is, where are we going to put all these hard drives? To address this, Microsoft is inventing various technologies to store data in really hyper-dense ways. For example, using something called programmable DNA. We take what would have been 2 Walmarts full of hard drives and we shrink that down to something like the tip of your finger. Hoarding all this data has massive side effects too. People could do some really creepy things with just a few pieces of information. For example, in December of 2019, the New York Times published an article called One Nation Tracked. Using just 3 fields of data, the phone's unique identifier, its location, and a time and date stamp, they were able to understand who the person likely was, who their friends were, who they were having affairs with, and if they had had any interaction with elected officials. It really wasn't hard once they had the data. New technology like quantum computers just means that we get there faster. So people who study ethics in the computer industry worry. In the Spider-Man comics, Uncle Ben is shot by a person that Peter Parker doesn't stop when he has the chance. As Uncle Ben is dying in the street, he tells Peter, with great power comes great responsibility. We in the computer industry worry for the same reason. All of this data storage and processing power comes with the ability to do some real dangerous things. So at Microsoft, we've created a committee that views the world through a lens called FATE. FATE stands for fairness, accountability, transparency, and ethics. This committee brings together people from within Microsoft as well as experts from the outside world to think through all of the potential implications of the solutions that we bring to market. The cloud is based entirely on the idea of trust. So this committee's got to make decisions based on the best interest of Microsoft for decades to come, not just to satisfy some short-term gain. Projects have literally been scrapped as a result of our FATE principles. Technology, just like everything else, goes through various phases. And just like a child, for example, just like a child, it goes through this baby stage where it's just learning to stand up. Then it goes through a toddler phase where it runs into things, falls over, and gets back on its feet. And then there's these adolescent and teenage years that are always rough with the pushing of boundaries and figuring out your place in the world. The point is, the child makes mistakes and figures things out. I have a son in college and a daughter in high school, and I've never seen either of my kids put their hand on a hot stove twice. One experience told them it was painful, yet everybody seems to know someone who makes the same bad personal decisions over and over, like that friend in high school who always dated the wrong people. You realize after a while that these aren't mistakes at all. So the question is why? Each of us has this voice in our head that tells us the right thing to do. Sometimes we make a legitimate mistake, but you're likely not going to put your hand on that hot stove again. The voice knows exactly what I should do, and when I ignore that voice, it usually creates a huge mess in my life. Building good principles around ethics and technology isn't about being perfect. It's about iteration and moving in the right direction. It's not about being right, It's about getting it right. Failing is a learning experience. Making the same mistakes over and over and over is just dysfunction. Some of you are going to be entering the workforce for the very first time. You're going to have that voice in your head that knows the right thing to do. Yeah, there's going to be conflict at times. Try and do what's in your best interest for your entire life, not just for the moment. Middle-aged folks like me are counting on you. You have the luxury of learning from all of our mistakes. I'm hopeful that you won't be the generation that puts your hand on the hot stove over and over again like we have. You've got to trust in science because it's all the same. All of science is about findings that are observed, transparent data that's verified by other people, not yourself. So I'll come back to my same core question that I've asked you over and over. What gives me the right to talk to you about ethics? Nothing. Because it doesn't matter what I say. The only thing that matters is what you do from here on out. So today, please take time to thank your parents, your friends, and anybody else who's helped you get here. I personally want to thank Loyola for giving me this life experience, as well as my parents, my kids, and my wife Holly, and Microsoft for getting me here as well. Congratulations on your achievement. Please go make the world a better place. Now I'd like to welcome back Dean Chen to share some final remarks.
Excellent remarks, Kate, and inspiring commencement speech, Paul. Thank you both. Congratulations to all the graduates in our proud class of 2021.
I would now like to present the candidates for the degree of Master of Communication, Digital Media and Storytelling. Luciana Bonadio de Faria. Stacy Carrion. Morgan Anna Maria Casper. Tierra Caro. Ying Fu. Adrienne Danielle Gossett. Hung Sheen Evelyn Huang. Yucheng John. Venetia O'Quinn. Paul Lawrence Quinn IV. Meredith Page Taylor. Deanna Christine Trejo. I would now like to present the candidates for the degree of Master of Science Global Strategic Communication. Sarah Altwall. Shauna McClinton Cooper. Alexandra Victoria Escobar. Kelsey Lynn Ferguson. Marcus Mason. Melitza Porik. Gurmihair Sodi. Simran Sodi. Alexis Elizabeth Tiller. Brittany Worth. I would now like to present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Advertising and Public Relations. Ogechi Claudia Ajawara. Syed Kamal Ali. Natalie Marie Angarita, magna cum laude. Paulina Aragon. Monique Arias Rabolino. Noah William Armenia. William Kent Bonner. Angel Jade Schuyler Bell. Emily Elizabeth Bello, magna cum laude. Catherine Nako Best. Maria Andrea Betancourt. Jessie Elizabeth Blaisdell. Emma Rudd Boland, magna cum laude. Claire Breeze Oswald, cum laude. Catherine W. Brennan. Carmen G. Braul, cum laude. Ilana Selena Catledge. Chiffon Jacob Christopher. Keith Maurice Clemens. Antonio Stephen Clipperton. Kelly Annabelle Cook, summa cum laude. Colette Marie Cooney. Javon Lyndon Cotton. Destiny Renee Davis. Jennifer Gail Durango, magna cum laude. Alexis E. Duge. Daniela Andrea Duarte Pombo. Sydney Elizabeth Durfee, cum laude. Jocelyn Esparza, cum laude. Emily M. Evans. Chloe Miranda Felix. Kelly Catherine Gleason, cum laude. Genevieve Claire Gluckert. Rose Catherine Goldschmidt, magna cum laude. Amanda Daniela Gonzalez. Melanie Hope Gursky, magna cum laude. Diana Gulieva. Kate Margaret Hahn, honors, magna cum laude. Kennedy Elise Hand. Lane Noel Harris. Laura Elizabeth Henry. Kendall Ann Herbert. Morgan Valerie Hertel. Donnelly Elizabeth Huddleston. Nolan Charles Hullinger, cum laude. Kristen Mikiko Izuo, cum laude. Jennifer Jabalis. Juliet Leonard Justice. Sana Shireen Kadir, cum laude. Haneen Kawazma. Raquel E. Corey, cum laude. Ellie Tegan Kinney, magna cum laude. Jacqueline Francis Klish. Victoria Joan Narowski. Goodspeed Co. Stella Marie Kruger. Elia Mazal Lemke. Sari Liu. Hannah Irene Loshorn, cum laude. Rachel Elizabeth Lally, honors, magna cum laude. Amanda Louise Lopez. Hannah G. Lopez. Lauren Marie Lytle, cum laude. Catherine Patricia Manley. Maggie Esther Mariatti. Carlos Andres Martinez. Taylor Ann McGee. Mia Faith McGuinn. Emma Lorraine Meyer. Alessandra Miglietti Viasana, cum laude. Brooke Hannah Moore, cum laude. Julia Isabella Morelli, cum laude. Malinaya Venecia Motan. Aurora Elizabeth Nelson. Benjamin William Norville, magna cum laude. Marissa Ann O'Malley, magna cum laude. Mercedes O'Neill. Ella Orse, magna cum laude. Claire Marie Passanault. Drivi Rashanbai Patel. Rebecca M. Pfluger. Emily Sage Policastro. Alexandra Rose Polyakov. Allison Noel Radin, cum laude. Julia L. Rivenberg. Gabriela Rojas. Jenna Catherine Ross, magna cum laude. Giancarlo Sanchez. Shivani Suravanan, cum laude. Luke Manning Scaletta, honors, magna cum laude. Sophia Marie Schumacher. Alina Shivji. Caroline Grace Shaw. Rachel Marie Signorelli. Natalie Marie Sislove, magna cum laude. Brianna Nicole Sloan, cum laude. Zachary Carr Soper, cum laude. Jordan Lee Squires. Zachary Charles Stanley, cum laude. Elena Tinto. Cameron Talui. Amy Tran. Chloe Coutant Trupiano. Gabriela M. Valdano. Sophia Marie Van Acker. Catherine L. Van Grisven, Vishal Varma, Jack Patrick Weatherly, Wheaton William Wedd, cum laude. Kendall Aaliyah Weems, cum laude. Andrew J. Weigel, cum laude. Emma Patricia Whaley, Shannon Rosinski, Yifei Shiyu, magna cum laude. Irina Icasa Quintana, Martina Alice Steele Zornig, cum laude. I would now like to present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Advertising Creative. Claire S. Alafida, Charles Timothy Brady, Liana Marie Cotero, Shannon Patricia Dane, summa cum laude. Francis M. Fiegel, magna cum laude. Amanda K. Flens, magna cum laude. Greta Gamboni, Vivian Gao, summa cum laude. Noah Bear Gothard, cum laude. Sydney Allen Ingracia, magna cum laude. Danielle Suzanne Capley, cum laude. Lana Laura Kennedy Folio, magna cum laude. Kelly Aaron Kluzinski, John Michael McDonald, Maribel Ornelas, cum laude. Evelyn Puccetti, Christopher Nicholas Schaefer, Nicolette Page Sutor, summa cum laude. Jaylene Villarreal, Hallie Eshrick Williams, summa cum laude. I would now like to present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Advocacy and Social Change. Lauren Lorraine Douglas, Patrick James Dover, Kiera Iris Esparza, Catherine Ann O'Neill, Honors, magna cum laude. Sarah Isabel Posada Rodriguez, summa cum laude. Elena Rose Richards, magna cum laude. Claire Elise Stevens, summa cum laude. I would now like to present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Communication Studies. Nicole Elizabeth Catherine Ahmed, Sajid Ahmed, Alexis Ramsey Alden, cum laude. Mia Bella Ambrogio, magna cum laude. Alexandra Barton, Jorge Luis Bello, summa cum laude. Carla Leonore Buenrostro, cum laude. Sarah Jane Chrysler, Elizabeth Healy Clark, magna cum laude. Sarah Marie DiNicolo, magna cum laude. Mariko C. Dennis. Tess Catherine Donnellan. Mary K. Ellis, magna cum laude. Seth Kern George. George Gerald Gabra. Angelina Rose Grego, cum laude. Samantha Amber Gustafson, magna cum laude. Nisa Hussein, cum laude. Rachel Ann Kane, honors, cum laude. Jessica Alexandra Kelly. Ann King. Declan Christopher Lyons. Emily L. Morris, cum laude. Maria Isabel Powers Restrepo. Janelli K. Reynoso, cum laude. Ryan Corbin Sarr. Emily Marie Shelkoff. M. C. Sullivan, cum laude. Allison Grace Tolman, magna cum laude. Alyssa Tadas. Lauren Avery Wade, magna cum laude. I would now like to present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Film and Digital Media. Janice J. Ader. Lenza Abdusalam Ali. Karina Jo Anderson, magna cum laude. Fabia Azim, magna cum laude. Frederick Lawrence Batista. Tyler Kenneth Boda, cum laude. Madison Kylie Bren. Carla Bueno. Taylor G. Bula. Adela Elizabeth Kanak. Alexia Loren Cece. Gift Chinda. Diego Alejandro Dora, magna cum laude. Joseph Michael Ditterline, cum laude. Christian Scott Dinny. Ramsha Essa. Molly Bennett Gaglione, cum laude. Alexandra Gallus. Shay Giat, cum laude. Cheyenne Sue Henderson, cum laude. Camille Jackson, magna cum laude. Carlos A. Kirby. Dana M. Kupek, magna cum laude. Alexandra Jean Covet, summa cum laude. Annabelle Noe Lance. Daniela Eunice Martinez Lopez, cum laude. Rachel Lynn Nezer, magna cum laude. Audrey Marilyn Palumbo. Werner Alfonso Pellenblum. Kyle Gregory Gerard Phelps. Brian Nicholas Powers. Alex Matthew Quintanilla, magna cum laude. Katrin Kara Robbins, cum laude. McGregor Hollis Salmon. Daniel Irwin Scott, magna cum laude. Henry Merritt Stevens, cum laude. Divashri Rajesh Thakur, magna cum laude. Samita Araksi Tuerto Zaharian. Abigail Teresa Weekman, honors, magna cum laude. I would now like to present the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts Multimedia Journalism. McKenna Catherine Adams, cum laude. Connolly Daniel Bell, cum laude. Mary Catherine Chappell, cum laude. Jennifer Ann Chase. Layla Guadalupe Chavez. Morgan Grace Sioka, magna cum laude. Zachary Coe. Mitchell Deligio. Alana Carey Demetrius, honors, magna cum laude. Emma Jean Dempsey, honors, summa cum laude. Kaylee Jade Foking, cum laude. Adnan Hajalich. Sean Gerald Hemmersmeyer. Jalen Herrera, magna cum laude. Kiera Marie Hunsaker, cum laude. Bear M. Hussein, cum laude. Emma Marie Ingracia, honors, cum laude. Epiphany Noel Janiken. Sophia Ray Cohen. Gianni Cooley, honors. Luis Mahia Arens, honors, cum laude. Heidi Marie Meyer. Marguerite Rose Michaud, magna cum laude. Jane Elizabeth Miller, honors, magna cum laude. Olivia Michelle Miller. Lindsay Marie Nolden, cum laude. Kylie Grace Richards, magna cum laude. Emily Lauren Roska, magna cum laude. Abigail Jane Schnabel. Sinead Scholl. Ilma Saperowick, cum laude. Emma Grace Spurley, honors, summa cum laude. Emma Therese Stokes. Nicholas Jose Tamayo, magna cum laude. Kaylee E. Timmons. Karina Rose Wensjoe. Lucas Williamson. Yang Wan. Ashley Wright.
Congratulations, our proud class of 2021. You are now embarking on an exciting new journey onto the path of self-fulfillment and accomplishment. You all have bright futures without ceilings. Keep dreaming, keep learning, keep soaring high. We wish you every success and happiness in your career and in your life. In the spirit of joy and happiness, I hope you will take a moment and remember to recognize your families, your professors, your advisors, and your friends who have supported you in your intellectual journey and contributed to your success. Thank you for being part of our SOC family at Loyola University Chicago. Please stay in touch. If there is anything we can do for you in your professional endeavors, we are here for you as always. Again, hearty congratulations, class of 2021. Go Ramblers, go SOC, go class of 2021. This completes the virtual commencement celebration. Thank you, everyone. Have a happy and healthy summer.